Silent Influence, Master the Art of Persuasion Without a Word. Chapter 1. The Power of Silence in Communication. In a world that prizes loud voices, strong opinions, and swift reactions, silence often appears as an afterthought. Yet, silence is far from passive. Silence is, in many ways, the most compelling part of communication. In its stillness, silence commands attention, fosters trust, and makes room for authentic influence. Unlike words, which can be tuned out, dismissed, or met with counter-arguments, silence can quietly reshape perceptions, lower defenses, and build deeper connections that last. This chapter explores why silence holds such power in communication and how it can be harnessed as a tool for influence. We'll dive into the psychology of silence, how it impacts those around us, and the reasons people are often drawn to those who listen more than they speak. You'll discover how silence works to reduce resistance, elevate calmness, and create a presence that people respect and respond to. By the end of this chapter, you will understand why the quiet, indirect path to influence is not only more effective but often more lasting. The quiet force, how silence shapes perception. Silence is often misunderstood as a lack of engagement, passivity, or disinterest. However, studies in psychology and neuroscience reveal that silence can have an opposite effect, creating a powerful space that draws people in and commands attention. In communication, silence becomes a presence rather than an absence. When someone is silent, we lean in to fill the gap, and this natural human response amplifies the listener's role in communication, allowing them to wield influence in ways that spoken words cannot. Silence can also signal confidence and self-assurance. When we are silent, we indicate that we are comfortable with stillness, patience, and observation. These traits foster trust, signaling that we are not reactive or impulsive. When we choose silence over quick retorts, we convey maturity and strength, two qualities that enhance credibility. People sense they can rely on someone who doesn't feel pressured to respond immediately, as it implies a thoughtful, composed approach to interactions. Case in point, the authority of silence in negotiation. Imagine a high-stakes negotiation where one party talks incessantly, attempting to out-argue the other, while the second party chooses their words sparingly, primarily observing and responding only when necessary. Studies show that the second party, the silent observer, often has the upper hand. Silence creates a space that invites the other party to reveal more, sometimes providing insights, fears, or doubts that can be crucial to the outcome. The silent negotiator doesn't need to push back on every point. Instead, their quiet presence exudes confidence and steadiness, placing the onus on the other party to break the silence, a psychological prompt that can lead them to concessions they might not otherwise have made. Silence and the psychology of influence, why we respond better to calmness. The effectiveness of silent influence lies in its ability to create a low-pressure environment where people feel safe to open up. When we respond calmly or allow silence to fill a conversation, we lower the emotional stakes, encouraging a more authentic connection. High-intensity exchanges activate the brain's amygdala, the region responsible for emotional reactions, which can trigger fight or flight responses. But silence encourages a calming effect, helping people think more clearly, process ideas thoughtfully, and feel heard rather than challenged. This allows them to view the speaker as approachable and non-threatening, fostering trust. Research suggests that silence even lowers blood pressure and heart rate in those listening to a calm, patient communicator. When people feel physically and emotionally calm, they are less likely to resist influence, becoming more receptive to others' ideas. This phenomenon is known as mimetic desire, where one person mirrors another's state. If we are calm and grounded, those around us are more likely to adopt that same state, creating an environment where ideas can flow without friction or defensiveness. Action step: practicing intentional silence in conversations. To experience the effect of silence in your own conversations, try an exercise. The next time you find yourself in a discussion, especially a charged one, practice responding with pauses. Instead of responding immediately to every question or challenge, take a breath and count to 3 in your mind before speaking. Notice how this pause influences the tone of the conversation. You may find that the other person feels less pressured, which encourages them to relax and open up. Observe how silence can de-escalate tension, allowing for a more meaningful exchange. Listening as influence, the art of making people feel heard. Active listening is one of the most overlooked but powerful elements of silent influence. To influence effectively without words, we must first create a space where others feel genuinely heard and valued. This requires not only hearing words but understanding the emotions, intentions, and unspoken needs behind them. When people feel heard, their defenses drop, and they become open to ideas they may otherwise resist. The act of listening quietly without interrupting, advising, or reacting creates a safe space for others to share freely. In this space, people are more willing to consider alternative viewpoints, making them more receptive to influence without a single word of argument or persuasion. Key techniques for active listening. Maintain eye contact. Eye contact shows engagement and respect. It communicates that the listener values the speaker's words. Nod and acknowledge. Small nods and gestures of acknowledgement, without interrupting, assure the speaker that you're actively processing what they're saying. Reflect emotions. Summarizing what you hear or noticing the speaker's emotions, it sounds like you're feeling frustrated, validates their feelings and promotes a deeper connection. Ask open-ended questions. Rather than giving advice or steering the conversation, ask questions that encourage further reflection. For example, what do you think would help in this situation? These techniques don't require you to give your opinion, make an argument, or convince anyone. Instead, they enable you to create a supportive space where people feel valued, making them more open to your subtle influence. Empathy and humility, essential traits of silent influence. Empathy and humility are central to the quiet influence model. When we approach interactions from a place of understanding and compassion, we create an atmosphere that encourages others to open up. Empathy fosters trust, making others more receptive to our perspective without us needing to push our viewpoint. By being humble, acknowledging that we don't have all the answers and genuinely respecting others' perspectives, we lower the barriers between us and those we wish to influence. Empathy does not mean agreeing with everything someone says, it means understanding their perspective and validating their experiences. This approach leads others to feel understood and respected, paving the way for influence that feels more collaborative than confrontational. Summary: why silence is the foundation of lasting influence. In this chapter, we explored how silence serves as the bedrock of influential communication. Silence allows us to project confidence, maintain control over the direction of conversations, and foster trust and respect in ways that argument and defense never could. By practicing active listening, empathy, and timing, we create a persuasive presence that speaks louder than words. In the chapters to come, we'll dive into techniques and strategies that build upon this foundation, from managing emotional reactions to choosing our words sparingly and purposefully. But remember, true influence doesn't always come from what we say, it comes from how we create space for others to explore and embrace new ideas on their own terms. Silence, when used wisely, becomes the most potent tool in the art of persuasion. Chapter 2. Understanding persuasion beyond words. Persuasion is often envisioned as a deliberate and verbal act, an art form that hinges on words, arguments, and evidence. But in truth, words are just one facet of influence, and often not the most compelling. Humans are highly responsive to the subtle cues that lie beyond language: body language, tone of voice, energy, timing, and most critically, emotional connection. These invisible forces shape our perception and reactions, often more profoundly than what is said outright. In this chapter, we will redefine persuasion as a process that extends far beyond spoken language. You'll learn how emotional states and nonverbal cues shape interactions and influence others without words. We'll also explore how remaining calm and controlled impacts those around you, making your influence resonate more effectively. Real-life examples will illustrate how silent, indirect persuasion can be more compelling and long-lasting than forceful arguments. The emotional underpinnings of persuasion: why calmness captivates. Emotions are the true drivers behind human decision-making, and when it comes to persuasion, they matter far more than logic. Studies in psychology and neuroscience demonstrate that we are emotionally driven beings who respond more powerfully to how we feel about someone's message than to the message itself. In fact, it's often not the content of the words but the emotions they carry that sway us. When you remain calm and collected, you establish an emotional baseline that others subconsciously begin to mirror. This phenomenon, known as emotional contagion, suggests that people naturally adopt the emotional state of those around them. A calm presence encourages those around you to relax, disarm their defenses, and open themselves to influence. When someone feels at ease, their rational brain is more accessible, making them more receptive to new ideas. The psychology of calmness and decision-making. When we feel calm, our brain's prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for reasoning and thoughtful decision-making, functions more effectively. On the other hand, high-intensity, combative interactions can trigger the amygdala, the part of the brain that governs emotional responses, and can lead to fight-or-flight reactions. The emotional brain then overpowers rationality, making people resistant to influence and unlikely to consider alternative viewpoints. By cultivating calmness in yourself and your interactions, you are setting up an environment where the other person's logical and empathetic mind remains active. This approach prevents reactive responses, allowing for a thoughtful, open atmosphere where people are more inclined to consider different perspectives. Action step: practicing calmness in high-intensity interactions. In your next conversation, especially if it's a challenging one, try to maintain a composed demeanor. Focus on breathing deeply and staying relaxed, even if the other person becomes animated. Make a mental note to keep your responses steady and grounded, avoiding rapid, reactive comments. Observe how this subtle shift affects the other person's tone, expressions, and level of engagement. Chances are, your calmness will invite them to mirror that same calmness, opening the door for deeper and more productive communication. The power of body language, tone, and timing in shaping perceptions. Our nonverbal cues, body language, tone of voice, and timing communicate volumes about our confidence, intentions, and attitudes. These unspoken signals convey respect, openness, and trustworthiness, sometimes with greater clarity and honesty than words. Understanding and refining your nonverbal communication can make your presence impactful without needing to say much. Body language, speaking without words. Body language, or nonverbal communication, encompasses everything from eye contact to posture, gestures, facial expressions, and physical proximity. Studies show that body language can account for more than half of the information we convey in face-to-face interactions. In the context of persuasion, the right body language sends powerful signals that help others feel comfortable, respected, and receptive. Maintain an open posture. Crossing your arms or leaning away can come across as defensive or closed off, whereas an open posture, arms relaxed and body facing the other person, communicates availability and openness. Use natural gestures. Subtle gestures, such as nodding or mirroring the other person's stance, reinforce engagement and show that you're truly in sync with the conversation. Make gentle eye contact. Direct eye contact without staring establishes trust. It shows interest without exerting control, which can feel intimidating. Mind your proximity. Physical distance can communicate different levels of comfort and connection. Respect personal space while gradually moving closer if the conversation is going well. This subtle change in proximity often signals increased trust. Tone of voice, setting the emotional tone. The tone of your voice, its pitch, volume, and pace, creates an emotional impression long before your words are processed. A calm, steady tone signals confidence and control, while a rushed or high-pitched tone can indicate nervousness or eagerness. When your tone conveys assurance, it also communicates that you're not defensive or easily rattled. This makes others feel safer and more open to your influence. Pace your speech. Speaking too quickly can overwhelm the listener, whereas a measured pace communicates thoughtfulness and confidence. Lower your volume when appropriate. Sometimes, speaking slightly softer than usual can draw people in, inviting them to lean closer and listen more attentively. Pause for emphasis. Strategic pauses give weight to your words, allowing others to absorb the information. Silence between phrases also signals that you are confident in what you're saying, without needing to rush or defend. Timing, the impact of well-placed pauses. In silent influence, timing is everything. Well-timed pauses and deliberate pacing can transform a simple message into something memorable. Pausing just before making an important point gives your words a sense of significance, almost like underlining them without using any visual cues. Timing allows you to control the flow of conversation, inviting others to follow your lead without feeling coerced. Consider waiting a few seconds after the other person has finished speaking before you respond. This pause, rather than rushing to fill the silence, shows that you're genuinely considering what they've said, which enhances trust and rapport. Action step: mastering body language and tone in everyday conversations. The next time you engage in a conversation, practice these 3 areas: body language, tone of voice, and timing. Focus on making gentle eye contact, maintaining a relaxed posture, and speaking in a steady, calm tone. Additionally, use a well-timed pause to emphasize a point. Experiment with these techniques and observe how they influence the tone and depth of the conversation. Case studies in silent influence, real-life examples. Understanding how silent influence works in real-life scenarios can clarify its power and potential applications. Here, we examine 3 examples of silent influence in action, highlighting the role of body language, tone, and calmness in shaping perceptions and outcomes. Case Study 1: The CEO who wins over the boardroom. Imagine a CEO who rarely speaks in board meetings unless necessary. When they do speak, they make eye contact, keep a steady tone, and use pauses for effect. The CEO maintains a calm presence even in contentious discussions, allowing others to air their views before sharing their own. Board members have remarked on how respected and confident they feel around the CEO, and they tend to defer to their perspective, sensing both wisdom and humility in their approach. This CEO's silent influence has created an environment where others feel valued, making them more open to alignment and collaboration. Case Study 2: The teacher who earns respect without raising their voice. In a high school classroom, a teacher uses calm, controlled body language and gentle eye contact to establish authority. They rarely raise their voice and maintain a steady pace, even when students are rowdy. Over time, students come to respect this teacher, noting that their quiet confidence sets the tone for the class. They don't need to command attention loudly because their presence naturally draws respect, leading to an orderly and engaged learning environment. This teacher's silent influence has created a culture of respect and attentiveness that words alone could never achieve. Case Study 3: The parent who communicates with patience. A parent raising a young child uses tone, timing, and body language to influence their child's behavior. Instead of issuing commands in a loud voice, they kneel to the child's level, make eye contact, and speak in a calm, measured tone. They allow moments of silence after making a request, giving the child time to absorb and respond. This approach fosters a trusting relationship where the child feels seen and respected, leading them to respond positively without needing to be coerced or argued with. This parent's silent influence establishes a foundation of mutual respect and open communication. Conclusion: The silent power of nonverbal persuasion. Persuasion that goes beyond words taps into a realm of influence that is deeply felt, subtly received, and often profoundly effective. Body language, tone, and timing work together to create a sense of presence that transcends verbal communication. By remaining calm, composed, and measured in our nonverbal cues, we communicate stability, reliability, and authenticity, qualities that naturally attract and influence others. As we continue, remember that mastering silent influence means honing an inner calmness that is reflected in how we engage nonverbally. These techniques are foundational to shaping an influence that feels genuine and lasting. In the coming chapters, we'll build on these principles, exploring tools like active listening, empathy, and humility to deepen your ability to persuade without a single argument or defense. Chapter 3: The Art of Active Listening. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, one of the most powerful forms of influence is listening. Listening is an art, an active skill that goes beyond simply hearing words. When practiced deeply, it is a transformative force that shapes conversations, strengthens relationships, and draws people to you. Active listening shows others that they matter, and this acknowledgement makes them more willing to engage with you, trust you, and often follow your lead. In this chapter, we'll explore the fundamental differences between deep listening and surface-level, reactive listening. You'll discover techniques that allow you to truly understand others, enhance your empathy, and create an environment where people feel valued and respected. Through the art of active listening, you can foster connections and encourage people to open up, setting the stage for silent yet profound influence. Deep listening versus reactive listening. In many interactions, listening tends to be reactive. We hear words, but often we're busy preparing our responses, defending our opinions, or mentally critiquing what's being said. This type of reactive listening falls short of truly connecting with others and can hinder your ability to influence. Active listening, on the other hand, requires engagement, patience, and focus. It means tuning in fully to the speaker's words, emotions, and intentions, with the goal of understanding them on a deeper level. Reactive listening. Reactive listening involves half listening while mentally preparing your response. In this state, you're not fully present, and the other person often senses that you're not truly engaged. This type of listening can lead to misunderstandings, as you're focused on your own response rather than their message. Deep listening, in contrast, deep listening means focusing entirely on the speaker. You're not formulating a response or judging their words. Instead, you're attuned to their feelings, intent, and perspective. Deep listening encourages people to open up and share honestly, as they sense they're being genuinely heard. The benefits of deep listening. Practicing deep listening has transformative effects, not only on others but on you as well. When you listen deeply, you gain insights into people's motivations, fears, and aspirations, allowing you to engage with them in ways that feel supportive and authentic. Deep listening also improves your ability to respond thoughtfully, enhancing your influence by showing others that you prioritize their views over your own immediate opinions. Techniques for active listening. Active listening is a skill that requires practice and patience. Here are several techniques to develop it and make others feel truly heard and valued. 1. Give your full attention. In our fast-paced world, distractions are common, and few things are more off-putting than a half-hearted listener. To engage in active listening, make a conscious effort to give your full attention. This means putting away your phone, maintaining eye contact, and focusing solely on the person speaking. Eliminate distractions, turn off notifications, put your phone on silent, and avoid glancing around the room. By minimizing distractions, you show that you value the conversation. Face the speaker, position yourself so that you're fully facing the speaker. This not only signals engagement but also allows you to pick up on their nonverbal cues. 2. Show nonverbal engagement. Your nonverbal signals, eye contact, nodding, and facial expressions, convey your interest and make the speaker feel respected. Maintaining open, non-defensive body language is key to fostering trust and encouraging openness. Maintain eye contact. Gentle, consistent eye contact shows that you're interested and focused. It also helps build rapport, as people feel more valued when you're looking directly at them. Use encouraging nods and gestures. Nodding occasionally or using subtle facial expressions to mirror the speaker's emotions can help them feel validated. These cues indicate that you're with them in the conversation and that their words are meaningful. 3. Practice reflective listening. Reflective listening involves paraphrasing or summarizing what the speaker has said to ensure you've understood correctly. This technique not only clarifies the message but also demonstrates that you're committed to understanding them accurately. Paraphrase for clarity. Use phrases like, "So, what I'm hearing is," or "It sounds like you're saying," to repeat back the main points. This lets the speaker know you're invested in truly understanding them. Ask for elaboration. If there's something unclear or you sense there's more to the story, gently ask for more information. Phrases like, "Could you tell me more about that?" or "What else would you like to share?" can encourage deeper sharing. 4. Listen without judgment or interruptions. One of the biggest barriers to effective listening is the urge to judge, defend, or interrupt. When you listen without judgment, you create a safe space for the speaker to share openly, without fear of criticism or rebuttal. Suspend judgments. Try to approach each conversation with an open mind, setting aside biases or assumptions. Remember that understanding someone's perspective doesn't mean you have to agree with it. Avoid interrupting. Let the speaker finish their thoughts before you respond. Even a well-intentioned interjection can disrupt their flow and make them feel rushed or dismissed. 5. Listen to emotions, not just words. Active listening goes beyond understanding the literal message. It involves picking up on the speaker's emotions and motivations. Often, people convey more through tone and body language than through their words. Observe tone and body language. Pay attention to changes in pitch, volume, and speed, as these can signal shifts in emotion. If someone's tone suddenly becomes softer or more animated, it may indicate vulnerability or excitement. Acknowledge emotions. When you notice an emotion behind the words, gently acknowledge it. For example, if someone sounds frustrated, you might say, "I can tell this has been really challenging for you." Recognizing emotions validates the speaker's experience and strengthens the connection, creating a space where others willingly follow your lead. Active listening fosters a sense of safety and respect, which can naturally lead others to look to you for guidance. When people feel truly heard, they're more inclined to follow and engage with you because you've built trust and credibility. By consistently practicing active listening, you position yourself as someone who values others' perspectives, and this respect is reciprocated through increased openness and influence. Make them feel understood. People are more likely to follow those who understand them. When someone feels that you get them, they're more inclined to value your opinions and trust your guidance. Build trust through non-defensive responses. When you respond without defensiveness or impatience, you reinforce your role as a calm, receptive influence. This makes others more willing to approach you, knowing they'll be met with respect. Encourage open sharing. Active listening creates a safe environment for others to speak honestly. When people feel safe sharing with you, they're more likely to open up, collaborate, and take your perspective seriously. Case studies: the power of active listening in real-life scenarios. To illustrate the power of active listening, let's examine 3 case studies where this skill transformed interactions, fostered trust, and encouraged people to willingly follow a particular individual's lead. Case Study 1: the manager who listened through challenges. A project manager faced a team member who was struggling with workload and deadlines, leading to tension and frustration in the group. Instead of reacting or pushing for faster results, the manager scheduled a one-on-one meeting to listen actively. They eliminated distractions, maintained eye contact, and nodded as the team members shared their concerns. Through reflective listening, the manager repeated back what they were hearing, validating the team members' frustrations without judgment. This simple act of listening helped the team member feel seen and respected. Feeling understood, they were then open to suggestions for solutions, resulting in improved performance and team harmony. Case Study 2: the friend who became a confidant. A woman noticed her close friend was going through a difficult time but wasn't sharing much. Instead of probing with questions or giving advice, she practiced active listening. She allowed her friend to speak without interruptions, reflecting back emotions like, "It sounds like this has been really painful for you," without offering solutions. Gradually, her friend opened up more, sharing deeper feelings and fears. This woman's active listening provided comfort and allowed her friend to feel safe, eventually leading them to trust her insights and accept her support. Over time, her friend began seeking her advice, knowing it came from a place of genuine understanding. Case Study 3: the teacher who won over a difficult student. A high school teacher had a student who often disrupted class. Instead of resorting to reprimands, the teacher requested a private meeting, intending to listen rather than lecture. The teacher asked open-ended questions and waited for the student to express their thoughts without interrupting or passing judgment. As the student shared, the teacher used reflective listening to clarify their feelings and validate their experiences. This approach created a sense of trust, making the student feel respected rather than criticized. Over time, the student's behavior improved, and they began to respect the teacher's authority because they felt understood. Conclusion: transformative power of active listening. Active listening is a foundational skill in silent influence, enabling you to connect with others on a deep, meaningful level. By practicing deep listening, showing nonverbal engagement, reflecting emotions, and creating a judgment-free space, you create an environment where people feel safe, valued, and understood. This strengthens relationships and fosters a natural influence based on trust and respect. In the following chapters, we'll continue building on these principles, exploring how empathy, timing, and vulnerability further contribute to your ability to guide and influence others silently and powerfully. Chapter 4: Empathy as a tool for influence. In the realm of persuasion, few tools are as powerful as empathy. While many think of persuasion in terms of arguments, techniques, and verbal skills, true influence often lies in the ability to understand and connect with others on a deeper emotional level. This chapter delves into the pivotal role of empathy in silent persuasion, offering practical insights and exercises to enhance your empathic skills and demonstrate how they can be used to influence others effectively. Understanding empathy's pivotal role in silent persuasion. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. It goes beyond sympathy, which merely acknowledges another person's feelings. Empathy actively seeks to feel what others feel, leading to a more profound connection. This connection is essential in influencing others, as it creates an environment of trust and safety where individuals feel valued and understood. The science behind empathy. Research has shown that when individuals perceive empathy from others, they are more likely to open up and engage in a two-way dialogue. According to a study published in the journal Social Cognitive and Affective Neuroscience, brain regions associated with empathy become activated when we observe others experiencing emotional situations. This suggests that empathy is not just a passive observation, it activates our emotional understanding and encourages us to relate to others' experiences. In practical terms, when you employ empathy in your interactions, you signal to others that their thoughts and feelings matter. This acknowledgement can significantly influence their openness to your ideas or perspectives. How empathy creates trust and openness to influence. When you demonstrate empathy, you create a foundation of trust. Trust is crucial in any relationship, personal or professional, and it is especially vital in situations where influence is at stake. When people feel that you understand their feelings, they are more likely to feel safe sharing their thoughts and opinions, making them more receptive to your influence. The empathy influence cycle. Understanding: when you empathize, you gain insight into others' thoughts and feelings. Connection: this understanding fosters a bond, making individuals feel valued. Openness: with this connection, people are more likely to share their perspectives and be open to your influence. Influence: as a result, they become more receptive to your ideas, creating a cycle of influence. Using empathy to connect deeply without needing to prove a point. In many persuasive situations, the urge to prove your point can overshadow the importance of listening and connecting. Empathy allows you to shift this dynamic. Here are ways to use empathy to connect deeply without forcing your perspective. 1. Practice active listening. Active listening is a vital component of empathy. It involves more than just hearing words, it requires full engagement with the speaker. Here's how to practice active listening. Give full attention, eliminate distractions. Put away your phone and maintain eye contact. Reflect and clarify, summarize what the person has said to ensure you understand their message. For example, what I hear you saying is, this not only confirms your understanding but also shows that you care about their perspective. Respond appropriately, use verbal and nonverbal cues to show engagement. Nodding, facial expressions, and verbal affirmations like I see or that makes sense encourage the speaker to continue. 2. Validate emotions. Recognizing and validating someone's emotions can significantly enhance your empathetic connection. When you acknowledge how they feel, it helps them feel seen and understood. You might say, "It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed by this situation." That's completely understandable. 3. Share relatable experiences. While it's important to allow the other person to express themselves, sharing a relatable experience can help bridge the gap between you. When you do this, ensure that you're not overshadowing their feelings. For example, I remember a time when I felt similarly. It can be really tough. 4. Avoid problem solving too soon. When someone shares a problem, your instinct might be to jump in with solutions. However, it's crucial to first fully understand their feelings and perspectives. Offer solutions only after they feel heard and understood. Practical exercises in empathic listening and perspective taking. Developing your empathy skills takes practice. Here are several exercises to help you enhance your empathic listening and perspective taking abilities. Exercise 1. Empathic listening practice. Pair up. Find a partner and take turns sharing a recent experience that was significant to you. One person will speak while the other practices active listening. Feedback. After sharing, the listener reflects on what they heard and how they think the speaker felt. This can be followed by asking clarifying questions. Switch roles. Repeat the process so both participants can experience the exercise. Exercise 2. Perspective taking. Choose a scenario. Identify a situation where you've had a disagreement or misunderstanding with someone. Write it out. Write a brief description of the scenario from your perspective. Shift perspectives. Now, write the same scenario from the other person's viewpoint, considering their feelings and motivations. Try to imagine how they might perceive the situation. Compare notes. If possible, discuss your reflections with the other person involved to see if your insights align. Exercise 3. Empathy journaling. Daily reflections. Keep a journal where you reflect on your interactions with others. Note instances where you felt you empathized successfully and where you could improve. Identify patterns. Look for patterns in your reactions and those of others. This practice can help increase your self-awareness regarding empathy. Conclusion: empathy is not just a skill but a powerful tool for silent influence. By understanding and connecting with others' feelings, you can foster trust and openness, paving the way for effective persuasion. As you practice the techniques and exercises outlined in this chapter, you will find that your ability to influence others grows, allowing you to create meaningful connections and inspire action through understanding rather than confrontation. Embrace empathy as a vital part of your communication toolkit, and watch as your influence deepens and flourishes in both your personal and professional relationships. Chapter 5. Knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. In the realm of communication, silence can often be more potent than words. Mastering the art of knowing when to speak and when to hold your tongue is crucial for effective persuasion. This chapter delves into the importance of timing your contributions thoughtfully, the nuances of reading the emotional landscape of interactions, and the strategies that enhance your ability to influence others without exerting pressure or creating discomfort. Through keen observation and a deep understanding of social dynamics, you can navigate conversations with an awareness that not only enhances your credibility but also fosters connection. By learning to balance restraint with expression, you can amplify your influence and become a master of silent persuasion. Reading the room, gauging moods and emotions. Before you can determine when to speak, you must first understand the emotional climate of the interaction. Reading the room requires acute observational skills and emotional intelligence. This skill enables you to assess the feelings and attitudes of those present, allowing you to respond appropriately. 1. Observing body language and nonverbal cues. Body language is a rich source of information about people's emotions. Key indicators include posture. Open postures, uncrossed arms and legs, suggest receptiveness, while closed postures indicate defensiveness or discomfort. Facial expressions. Smiles can signal approval and openness, while frowns or furrowed brows may indicate confusion or disagreement. Gestures. Excessive fidgeting may indicate anxiety, while relaxed hand movements can signal comfort and engagement. Practical exercise. During conversations, take a moment to focus on the speaker's body language. Note how their nonverbal cues align with their spoken words. This exercise will help you develop a more intuitive sense of how others are feeling. 2. Listening to tone of voice. The tone of voice can reveal much about a person's mood and intention. Pay attention to volume. A raised voice might indicate excitement or anger, while a softer tone often conveys intimacy or calm. Pace. Speaking quickly can denote agitation or excitement, whereas a slower pace suggests careful consideration. By attuning yourself to the subtleties of tone, you can better gauge how others are receiving the conversation. Practical exercise. Practice active listening by focusing entirely on how something is said rather than just the words being spoken. Take note of any discrepancies between the tone and the content, as these can be telling of underlying emotions. 3. Recognizing group dynamics. Conversations often take place within a social context that influences how individuals behave. Factors to consider include dominant voices. Identify who is leading the conversation and how others respond to them. Energy levels. Notice whether the group appears engaged or distracted. High-energy discussions often welcome contributions, while low-energy environments may benefit from silence and reflection. Understanding these dynamics can help you navigate the conversation more effectively. Practical exercise. In group settings, take note of the flow of conversation. When is energy high? When does it drop? Reflect on how this affects your own contributions. Techniques for timing your input for maximum impact. Knowing when to speak requires an understanding of timing. The right moment can amplify your influence and make your contributions more effective. 1. Choose strategic moments to contribute. Timing your input for moments of high engagement increases the likelihood that your message will be well received. Pause for effect. After someone has made a significant point, allow for a brief silence before you respond. This not only shows respect for their contribution but also allows you to frame your response thoughtfully. Join in when interest peaks. If you notice the group becoming particularly animated about a topic, this is often the best time to jump in with your thoughts. Practical exercise. In your next group discussion, practice observing the ebb and flow of energy. When is the conversation most animated? When do people seem most engaged? Use these insights to inform your contributions. 2. The art of the pause. Pauses are a powerful tool in communication. They can signal thoughtfulness and create anticipation for what's coming next. Emphasizing key points, use silence effectively by pausing before or after making an important point. This allows your words to resonate. Creating space for reflection, after posing a question, allow a moment of silence. This gives others time to consider their responses and encourages deeper engagement. Practical exercise, during conversations, practice incorporating pauses. Notice how others react to your silence and whether it prompts them to engage more deeply. The balance of restraint and expression in communication. Mastering the balance between silence and speech is essential for effective influence. Here are some key considerations. 1. Recognizing when silence is no longer productive. While silence can be powerful, it can also lead to misunderstandings. Recognize when it's time to speak. Clarifying misunderstandings. If silence allows misconceptions to fester, it's essential to step in and provide clarification. Acknowledging emotions. If someone shares a personal story or expresses distress, silence might come off as indifference. Offering a supportive comment can reinforce your connection. Practical exercise. Reflect on past conversations where silence may have hindered communication. What might you have said instead to enhance understanding? 2. Knowing when your insight is necessary. Sometimes, your perspective can help clarify or resolve a situation. Gauge whether your insights add value to the conversation. Introducing solutions. If a discussion is stuck, offering a thoughtful suggestion can help move it forward. Validating feelings. If you observe others feeling dismissed or misunderstood, speaking up to validate their feelings can strengthen relationships. Practical exercise. In meetings or discussions, assess the value of your insights. When you do speak, note whether it leads to a more productive conversation. The effect of well-timed pauses and silence on decision-making. Timing can significantly influence how decisions are made. Here's how. 1. Creating space for processing. In decision-making scenarios, giving people space to think can lead to better outcomes. Allow time for reflection. After presenting an option, provide time for everyone to consider the implications before responding. Encourage collective thought. Posing open-ended questions and allowing silence can invite others to reflect and share their thoughts. Practical exercise. In discussions involving decision-making, practice incorporating pauses. Notice how this influences the quality of the conversation. 2. Enhancing persuasiveness. Pauses can also enhance the persuasiveness of your arguments. Building anticipation. A well-placed pause can generate interest and curiosity about your next point. Conveying confidence. Confident communicators use silence strategically, signaling that they are comfortable with their message. Practical exercise. When making a point, practice using pauses to build anticipation. Observe how your audience responds. Practical exercises for timing your input. To develop your skill in timing your contributions, here are several practical exercises. Exercise 1. The silent observer. Spend a day in public spaces, like coffee shops or parks, observing conversations without participating. Focus on how timing and silence play out among speakers. Reflect. Afterward, consider how timing affected the effectiveness of each conversation. What moments stood out as particularly powerful or weak? Exercise 2. The 3-second rule. During discussions, practice the 3-second rule. Wait 3 seconds after someone finishes speaking before you respond. This will encourage you to be more thoughtful in your responses. Evaluate your comfort level. Notice how this makes you feel. Does it create anxiety, or does it feel natural? How do others respond? Exercise 3. Pause for clarity. In your next meeting, identify a moment where a pause could enhance understanding or create emphasis. Use it strategically and observe the outcome. Reflect on impact. Afterward, assess how the pause affected the discussion and whether it made your points more compelling. Conclusion. The strength of silent influence. Mastering the art of knowing when to speak and when to remain silent is a cornerstone of effective communication. By developing your ability to read the room, time your input, and balance silence with expression, you can elevate your persuasive skills to new heights. Silence is not merely the absence of speech, it is a powerful tool that, when used wisely, enhances your influence and fosters deeper connections. As you cultivate these skills, you will find that your ability to guide conversations and decisions without overt pressure becomes a hallmark of your leadership style, allowing you to navigate interpersonal dynamics with grace and effectiveness. Embrace the power of silence, and let it amplify your influence in the world. Chapter 6. Building Trust Through Vulnerability. Vulnerability is often perceived as a weakness, yet in the context of influence and persuasion, it emerges as one of the most potent tools at our disposal. When used effectively, vulnerability fosters authenticity and connection, creating a foundation for trust that is essential for silent influence. This chapter explores the nuances of vulnerability, its role in building trust, and how to express it sincerely without sacrificing personal integrity. By embracing our vulnerabilities and recognizing the strengths they can impart, we can lead more effectively, inspire others, and create deeper, more meaningful relationships. This chapter will guide you in differentiating between authentic vulnerability and performative weakness, offer practical exercises for cultivating humility, and highlight how admitting limitations can inspire confidence in others. Understanding vulnerability's role in silent influence. 1. The nature of vulnerability. Vulnerability involves exposing one's thoughts, feelings, and uncertainties. It's the willingness to show up as our true selves, complete with flaws and imperfections. This authenticity resonates deeply with others, as it dismantles barriers and fosters genuine connections. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we encourage others to open up. Vulnerability is contagious. When we share our struggles and uncertainties, we create a safe space for others to do the same. This reciprocity enhances mutual trust and understanding. Humanize ourselves. In a world often dominated by self-presentation and curated images, showing vulnerability allows us to connect on a human level. It breaks down the walls of perception and establishes relatability. Invite empathy. Sharing our vulnerabilities elicits empathy from others, encouraging them to understand and support us more profoundly. This empathy creates a fertile ground for influence, as people are more likely to respond positively to those they feel connected to. 2. The psychology behind vulnerability. From a psychological perspective, vulnerability is integral to establishing trust. According to Brené Brown, a leading researcher on vulnerability, shame, and empathy, vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. By allowing ourselves to be seen and understood, we foster an environment conducive to collaboration and mutual respect. Authentic vulnerability versus performative weakness. 1. Differentiating between the two. Authentic vulnerability is characterized by honesty and a genuine desire to connect, while performative weakness often comes across as manipulative or self-serving. Here are key distinctions. Intent. Authentic vulnerability arises from a place of sincerity and a wish to build connections. Performative weakness seeks attention or sympathy without fostering real engagement. Expression. Authentic vulnerability communicates honesty and openness about one's feelings and experiences. In contrast, performative weakness may involve exaggerated displays of insecurity or helplessness for external validation. Impact. Authentic vulnerability strengthens relationships by inviting trust, whereas performative weakness can alienate others and hinder genuine connections. 2. Recognizing authentic vulnerability. To harness the power of authentic vulnerability, consider these aspects. Self-reflection. Understand your motivations. Are you sharing to connect or seeking validation? Authentic sharing comes from a place of self-awareness and honesty. Balance. While vulnerability is important, it should not overwhelm the conversation. Balance your disclosures with confidence and purpose to maintain respect and authority. Context. Consider the setting and your audience. Sharing deeply personal information may not be suitable in every situation. Gauge the appropriateness based on the relationship dynamics and context. Exercises for cultivating authentic vulnerability. 1. Reflective journaling. Engage in reflective journaling to explore your feelings, thoughts, and experiences. This practice will help you identify areas of vulnerability you're willing to share and clarify your motivations for doing so. Prompt: write about a time when you felt vulnerable. What were your feelings, and how did it affect your relationships? How could you have approached that situation differently? 2. Sharing experiences in safe spaces. Start by sharing small vulnerabilities in safe environments with trusted friends or family. This gradual exposure will help you build confidence in your authentic expression. Exercise: choose one trusted individual and share a personal story that reflects your vulnerability. Notice their reaction and reflect on how this exchange felt. 3. Assessing your comfort zone. Create a list of topics or experiences you feel comfortable discussing openly. Gradually expand this list as you become more comfortable with vulnerability. Activity: identify 3 vulnerabilities you'd like to explore in conversation. Discuss them in your next social interaction and observe the outcomes. Inspiring confidence in others by admitting limitations and faults. Admitting our limitations and faults is not a sign of weakness, instead, it can be a powerful statement of strength and authenticity. When leaders and influencers acknowledge their limitations, they inspire confidence in those around them. Here's how. 1. Modeling transparency. By being open about your shortcomings, you model a culture of honesty and transparency. This encourages others to do the same, fostering a collaborative environment where team members feel comfortable sharing their own challenges. Practical example: during a team meeting, if a project encounters a setback, openly discuss your role in the issue and what you've learned. This sets a tone of accountability and encourages others to share their perspectives. 2. Building trust through humility. Humility is a cornerstone of vulnerability. When you admit your limitations, you signal to others that you are approachable and relatable. This can strengthen your relationships and enhance your influence. Strategy: when discussing your achievements, pair them with acknowledgments of the support you received from others. This reinforces the idea that success is often a collective effort. 3. Encouraging growth mindset. Admitting faults promotes a growth mindset. When you embrace your imperfections, you empower others to view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats. Activity: share a personal story of a failure or mistake, along with what you learned from it. Encourage those around you to share their experiences, fostering an environment of mutual support. Building vulnerability into everyday interactions. Incorporating vulnerability into your everyday interactions enhances your influence and strengthens your relationships. Here's how to integrate these practices into your daily life. 1. Start small. Begin by incorporating small doses of vulnerability into casual conversations. Share light personal anecdotes or challenges. Example: if someone asks about your weekend, instead of offering a standard response, mention a struggle you faced or a lesson learned. 2. Create safe spaces. Cultivate environments where vulnerability is welcomed. Encourage open discussions in team settings or among friends where sharing personal experiences is normalized. Strategy: establish vulnerability moments in meetings where team members can share challenges or seek support from one another. 3. Use vulnerability as a bridge. When facing conflict or misunderstanding, vulnerability can serve as a bridge to understanding. Express your feelings honestly and invite others to share their perspectives. Activity: in a challenging discussion, begin by stating your feelings and admitting where you might have fallen short. Invite the other person to share their thoughts, creating an opportunity for dialogue and resolution. The long-term benefits of embracing vulnerability. Enhanced relationships. Building trust through vulnerability leads to deeper, more meaningful relationships. Authentic connections create a supportive network that encourages personal and professional growth. Increased influence. Authentic vulnerability enhances your credibility and influence. People are more likely to follow someone they perceive as genuine and relatable. Personal growth. Embracing vulnerability allows for self-discovery and growth. As you navigate your insecurities, you develop resilience and emotional intelligence, enhancing your ability to connect with others. Conclusion: embracing the strength of vulnerability. As we navigate the complexities of communication and influence, vulnerability stands out as a transformative force. By embracing authentic vulnerability, we can build trust, inspire confidence, and foster genuine connections. In a world that often equates strength with invulnerability, those who dare to be vulnerable emerge as true leaders. They show us that authenticity is not a weakness but a powerful tool for connection and influence. By allowing ourselves to be seen and heard, we invite others to do the same, creating a ripple effect that enhances our relationships and amplifies our impact. As you continue your journey of mastering silent influence, remember that your willingness to be vulnerable is a profound act of strength. Embrace it, and watch as it transforms not only your interactions but also your capacity to inspire and lead others. Chapter 7. Influencing through example rather than argument. In an age where discussions often devolve into arguments, the ability to influence others without engaging in verbal battles is invaluable. This chapter explores the compelling strategy of influencing through example rather than argument, emphasizing that actions carry more weight than words. While persuasive rhetoric can be effective, embodying the principles we wish to convey leads to a more profound and lasting impact. The concept of walking the talk speaks to a fundamental truth: people are more likely to follow those who demonstrate their values through consistent actions. When our behavior aligns with our beliefs, we not only gain credibility but also inspire others to adopt similar values and behaviors. This chapter will delve into how to utilize nonverbal cues, the importance of consistency in actions, and the long-term effects of this silent form of influence. The essence of leading by example. 1. Understanding the concept of leading by example. Leading by example is the practice of modeling the behavior and values you wish to see in others. This approach creates a powerful framework for influence that is rooted in authenticity and integrity. Rather than dictating what others should do, you demonstrate it through your own actions. Key aspects of leading by example. Authenticity: being genuine in your actions helps build trust. When people see you living your values, they are more likely to respect and follow you. Consistency: consistent actions reinforce your message. When your behavior aligns with your beliefs over time, it establishes a reliable pattern that others can rely on. Inspirational impact: people often look for role models. By living your values, you inspire those around you to do the same. 2. Why actions speak louder than words. The phrase "actions speak louder than words" is not just a cliché, it is a profound observation about human nature. Research in psychology indicates that nonverbal communication often conveys more information than verbal messages. Here's why actions hold more power. Perception of integrity: when your actions match your words, others perceive you as credible and trustworthy. Conversely, inconsistency can lead to skepticism and doubt. Nonverbal influence: body language, tone of voice, and even facial expressions communicate messages that may contradict spoken words. People are adept at picking up on these cues, often subconsciously. Emotional connection: actions evoke emotional responses. When someone sees you doing something impactful, it can inspire them in ways that words alone cannot. Using nonverbal cues to reinforce your principles. 1. The importance of body language. Body language is a crucial element of nonverbal communication. It includes gestures, posture, facial expressions, and eye contact. Here are ways to leverage body language for silent influence. Open posture: standing or sitting with an open posture, e.g., uncrossed arms, conveys approachability and confidence. This invites others to engage with you and creates a welcoming atmosphere. Eye contact: maintaining appropriate eye contact shows that you are present and attentive. It fosters a connection and indicates sincerity in your intentions. Gestures: purposeful gestures can emphasize your points and convey enthusiasm. However, it's important to avoid excessive or distracting movements that can detract from your message. Facial expressions: smiling and using positive facial expressions can enhance your message and create an inviting environment. 2. Aligning nonverbal cues with your message. To influence effectively, ensure that your nonverbal cues align with your message. Inconsistencies can lead to confusion and mistrust. Here are strategies for alignment. Practice congruence: before engaging in discussions or interactions, practice aligning your body language with your intended message. If discussing a serious topic, your posture should reflect attentiveness and sincerity. Be mindful of emotions, recognize the emotions you want to convey and use body language that mirrors those feelings. If you want to express enthusiasm, for instance, your gestures should be animated. Seek feedback, observe how others react to your body language. Feedback can provide insights into how your nonverbal communication is perceived and how it influences those around you. Why embodying values is more persuasive than explaining them. 1. The limitations of argumentative persuasion. While arguments and discussions can be useful, they often lead to defensiveness and resistance. People may feel attacked or belittled, making them less receptive to new ideas. In contrast, embodying values allows others to witness the positive outcomes of those values without the pressure of argumentation. Limitations of argumentative persuasion. Defensiveness. When people feel challenged, they often become defensive, shutting down open communication. This can create barriers to influence. Focus on winning. Arguments can shift the focus from understanding to winning. Participants may prioritize proving their point rather than genuinely listening and engaging. Short-term impact. Arguments can lead to temporary compliance but often do not result in lasting change. People may agree in the moment but revert to old behaviors later. 2. The power of modeling behavior. Modeling behavior provides a pathway for influence that is often more effective than verbal persuasion. When you embody your values, others see the benefits firsthand, which can lead to organic change. Benefits of modeling. Real-life examples. Actions serve as tangible examples of the values you espouse. Observing the success of your behaviors can inspire others to adopt similar practices. Encouraging experimentation. By living your values, you encourage others to experiment with those values in their own lives. They may be more likely to try something new if they see it being successfully implemented. Building a supportive community. When you lead by example, you foster an environment where others feel empowered to contribute and share their experiences, further reinforcing the values being modeled. How consistency in actions breeds trust and respect over time. 1. The role of consistency in influence. Consistency is key in building trust and respect. When people observe that your actions align with your stated beliefs consistently over time, they are more likely to view you as trustworthy and credible. Aspects of consistency. Reliability. When your behavior is predictable, it creates a sense of security for others. They know what to expect from you, which fosters trust. Reinforcement of values. Consistent actions reinforce your values in the eyes of others. This continuous modeling can influence their behaviors and perspectives. Long-term relationships. Trust is built over time. Consistency in your actions creates a foundation for long-lasting relationships based on mutual respect. 2. Strategies for maintaining consistency. To maintain consistency in your actions, consider the following strategies. Set clear values. Clearly define the values that guide your actions. Understanding your principles will help you make choices that align with them. Reflect regularly. Regularly assess your actions and behaviors to ensure they align with your stated values. This self-reflection encourages accountability. Seek accountability. Share your goals and values with trusted friends or colleagues who can help hold you accountable. This external support can reinforce your commitment to consistency. The long-term impact of influencing through example. Influencing through example creates a ripple effect that extends beyond individual interactions. Here are the long-term impacts of this approach. Cultural shift. When leaders and influencers consistently model positive behaviors and values, it can lead to a cultural shift within organizations or communities. Others will begin to adopt those behaviors as norms. Legacy of influence. By living your values, you create a legacy that can inspire future generations. Those influenced by your actions may carry forward the lessons learned, extending your impact beyond your immediate circle. Strengthen relationships. As trust and respect build through consistent actions, relationships deepen. These strong connections become a source of support and collaboration. Conclusion: the enduring power of silent influence. Influencing through example rather than argument is a powerful strategy for creating lasting change and inspiring those around you. By aligning your actions with your values, you cultivate authenticity and trust, inviting others to follow your lead. As you embrace this approach, Remember that your actions speak volumes. Every choice you make, every behavior you model, contributes to a legacy of influence. By walking the talk, you not only enhance your own credibility but also empower others to embrace the values and principles that you embody. In the quiet strength of your example lies the potential to shape attitudes, inspire action, and create a more harmonious world. As you move forward, consider how you can integrate this practice into your everyday life. Reflect on the values you wish to promote, commit to embodying them consistently, and watch as your silent influence unfolds in remarkable ways. Chapter 8. Emotional Intelligence, Managing Your Own Reactions. Emotional intelligence, EI, is the capacity to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions while also being able to recognize and influence the emotions of others. In the realm of silent influence, emotional intelligence serves as a cornerstone for effective communication and persuasion. It allows individuals to navigate complex social interactions, maintain composure in challenging situations, and ultimately persuade others without resorting to overt tactics or arguments. This chapter delves into the significance of emotional intelligence in managing your reactions, the techniques to enhance your emotional self-regulation, and the impact of calmness on your influence over others. By developing your emotional intelligence, you not only strengthen your ability to influence but also foster healthier relationships and create an environment where open dialogue can thrive. Understanding emotional intelligence. 1. Defining emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence consists of several components, which can be broadly categorized into two main domains: self-awareness and social awareness. Self-awareness, the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions, strengths, weaknesses, and triggers. This awareness is the foundation for managing your emotional responses effectively. Social awareness, the ability to recognize and understand the emotions of others. This includes empathy, the capacity to put oneself in another's shoes, and the understanding of social dynamics. 2. The components of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence can be broken down into 5 key components. Self-recognition, the ability to identify and understand your emotions as they occur. Self-regulation, the capacity to manage your emotional responses and reactions in various situations. Motivation, the internal drive to pursue goals with energy and persistence, often influenced by emotional factors. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, facilitating deeper connections. Social skills, proficient interpersonal skills that allow you to build rapport, manage conflicts, and navigate social situations effectively. Each of these components plays a critical role in how we influence others, particularly in the realm of silent persuasion. Recognizing your triggers to stay calm and collected. 1. Identifying emotional triggers. Emotional triggers are situations, events, or stimuli that provoke strong emotional responses. Recognizing your triggers is essential for managing your reactions. Common triggers can include criticism, negative feedback can provoke defensiveness or anger. Conflict, disagreements may lead to heightened stress and emotional responses. Change, unexpected changes can evoke anxiety or frustration. Social dynamics, certain social interactions may trigger feelings of inadequacy or discomfort. To identify your triggers, consider keeping a journal where you note situations that elicit strong emotional responses. Over time, patterns may emerge, helping you understand what specifically affects you. 2. Techniques for managing emotional triggers. Once you have identified your triggers, you can employ several techniques to manage your emotional reactions effectively. Pause and reflect. When faced with a trigger, take a moment to breathe and reflect before responding. This brief pause can prevent impulsive reactions and allow for a more thoughtful approach. Reframe your perspective, shift your focus from the emotional trigger to a more neutral or positive viewpoint. For instance, if receiving criticism makes you defensive, consider it an opportunity for growth. Practice mindfulness, engage in mindfulness techniques to help you stay present and aware of your emotions. Mindfulness can enhance your ability to respond calmly in challenging situations. Practical techniques for remaining centered during tough conversations. 1. The power of deep breathing. Deep breathing is a simple yet powerful technique to regain composure during stressful interactions. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which induces a state of calm. Here's how to practice deep breathing. Find your space. If possible, take a moment away from the conversation to focus on your breath. Breathe in deeply, inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4, allowing your abdomen to expand. Hold the breath, hold your breath for a count of 4. Exhale slowly, release your breath through your mouth for a count of 6, allowing your body to relax. Repeat, continue this pattern for several cycles until you feel your tension begin to dissipate. 2. Visualization techniques. Visualization can help you prepare mentally for tough conversations. Imagine a successful outcome and visualize yourself responding calmly and assertively. This mental rehearsal can build your confidence and reduce anxiety. Steps for visualization. Find a quiet space, sit comfortably in a quiet place where you can focus. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Visualize the scenario, imagine the upcoming conversation. Picture the setting, the people involved, and the emotions at play. Rehearse your responses, visualize yourself responding calmly and positively to any challenges that arise. End on a positive note, conclude your visualization with a successful resolution, reinforcing your belief in a positive outcome. 3. Grounding techniques. Grounding techniques help anchor you in the present moment, allowing you to regain control during emotional upheaval. Here are some effective grounding strategies. 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Engage your senses by identifying 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. Physical sensations. Focus on physical sensations such as the feeling of your feet on the ground or the texture of an object in your hand. Mindful observation. Pay attention to your surroundings, noticing colors, shapes, and sounds without judgment. The persuasive impact of calmness in tense situations. 1. The ripple effect of calmness. Maintaining a calm demeanor during tense situations can have a ripple effect on those around you. When you remain composed, it encourages others to mirror your calmness, leading to a more constructive interaction. This is often referred to as emotional contagion, where emotions can spread among individuals. Creating a safe space. Your calmness can create a safe environment for others to express their emotions without fear of judgment or escalation. This fosters open communication and collaboration. Encouraging rational discussion. When emotions run high, maintaining your composure allows for rational discussion, leading to more productive outcomes. It enables you to focus on the issue rather than getting caught up in emotional reactions. 2. Techniques to maintain calmness. To remain calm during challenging interactions, consider these strategies. Practice active listening. Focus on truly understanding the other person's perspective. This demonstrates respect and helps de-escalate tension. Stay solution-oriented. Shift the focus from problems to solutions. Emphasizing constructive outcomes can help diffuse conflict. Use positive affirmations. Repeat affirmations to yourself that reinforce your calmness and capability, such as "I can handle this situation with grace." Self-control as a silent persuader and ways to practice it. 1. The role of self-control in influence. Self-control is a critical aspect of emotional intelligence. It involves managing your impulses and emotions to respond effectively in various situations. Strong self-control enhances your ability to influence others because it allows you to remain composed under pressure and respond thoughtfully. 2. Techniques for practicing self-control. Set intentions. Before engaging in interactions, set clear intentions for how you wish to respond. Visualizing yourself staying calm and collected can reinforce your commitment to self-control. Develop healthy routines. Establish daily routines that promote emotional well-being, such as regular exercise, meditation, and journaling. These practices enhance your overall emotional resilience. Monitor your self-talk. Pay attention to your internal dialogue. Challenge negative thoughts and replace them with constructive, affirming statements. Conclusion: the transformative power of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is a vital tool for mastering the art of silent influence. By recognizing your triggers, managing your reactions, and cultivating a calm presence, you enhance your ability to influence others without resorting to overt persuasion tactics. As you develop your emotional intelligence, you will not only improve your own interactions but also foster an environment where open communication and understanding thrive. Investing in emotional intelligence requires patience and practice. As you refine these skills, you will find yourself better equipped to navigate challenging conversations, inspire trust, and create meaningful connections. Ultimately, the calmness and clarity you cultivate within yourself will resonate with those around you, enabling you to influence others silently but powerfully. Chapter 9. Asking questions instead of making statements. In the landscape of silent influence, the power of asking questions cannot be overstated. Questions serve as a bridge to understanding, inviting deeper connections and encouraging others to explore their thoughts and feelings. While statements can assert authority or convey information, questions open avenues for dialogue, foster critical thinking, and empower others to arrive at their conclusions. This chapter explores the subtleties of using questions as a persuasive tool, providing techniques for non-confrontational inquiry that invites reflection, builds trust, and nurtures a collaborative atmosphere. The Socratic method: how questions can lead others to your viewpoint. 1. Understanding the Socratic method. The Socratic method, named after the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, is a form of cooperative argumentative dialogue that stimulates critical thinking through questioning. Socrates believed that the best way to reach truth was not through blunt assertion, but by guiding individuals to examine their beliefs and assumptions through a series of thoughtful questions. 2. Key principles of the Socratic method. Encouragement of self-discovery. By asking questions, you help others explore their thoughts and arrive at conclusions independently, fostering a sense of ownership over their ideas. Challenging assumptions. Questions can reveal underlying assumptions that may not be immediately obvious, prompting deeper reflection. Promoting critical thinking. Instead of providing answers, the Socratic method encourages individuals to analyze situations, consider alternatives, and weigh evidence, fostering a culture of inquiry. The subtle art of leading others to discover your perspective. 1. Framing questions to guide thought. Crafting questions with intentionality is key to guiding others toward your perspective without direct confrontation. The following techniques can help in framing questions effectively. Open-ended questions. These questions encourage elaboration and deeper thought. For instance, instead of asking, "Do you think we should change our strategy?" you might ask, "What are your thoughts on our current strategy, and how do you feel it aligns with our goals?" Reflective questions. These questions prompt individuals to consider their feelings or beliefs. For example, how do you feel about the recent feedback from the team? Hypothetical questions. Asking hypothetical questions can help individuals think through scenarios without feeling cornered. For instance, if we were to approach this challenge differently, what might that look like? 2. Using follow-up questions. Follow-up questions can deepen the conversation and help clarify the respondent's thoughts. They demonstrate active listening and a genuine interest in the other person's perspective. Here are some strategies for effective follow-up questioning. Clarifying questions. These seek to understand the respondent's answer more clearly. For example, "Can you elaborate on what you meant by that?" Probing questions. These encourage further exploration of the topic. For instance, "What led you to that conclusion?" Summarizing questions. These reflect back what you've heard to confirm understanding. For example, "So what I'm hearing is that you feel. Is that correct?" Techniques for non-confrontational questioning that invites reflection. 1. Establishing a safe environment. Creating a non-threatening atmosphere is essential for effective questioning. Here's how to foster such an environment. Practice active listening. Show genuine interest in the responses of others. Nodding, maintaining eye contact, and offering verbal affirmations can signal that you value their input. Be mindful of tone. Your tone can greatly influence how questions are perceived. A calm and curious tone invites dialogue, while a confrontational tone may elicit defensiveness. Use I statements. Framing questions with I statements can soften the delivery. For instance, instead of saying, "Why did you do that?" you could say, "I noticed you chose that approach. I'm curious about your reasoning behind it." 2. The role of timing. Timing is crucial when asking questions. Introducing them at the right moment can significantly enhance their impact. Pause after key statements. Allow for silence after someone makes a significant point. This gives them space to reflect and often leads them to elaborate. Gauge emotions. Pay attention to the emotional climate. If tensions are high, it may be better to ask questions that encourage reflection rather than challenge perspectives directly. Building trust through curiosity and genuine interest. 1. The connection between curiosity and trust. Curiosity is a powerful tool for building trust. When you ask questions out of genuine interest, you demonstrate that you value the other person's thoughts and feelings. This fosters an atmosphere of respect and openness. 2. Techniques for cultivating curiosity. Approach with an open mind, enter conversations without preconceived notions. This mindset allows you to ask questions that genuinely explore the other person's perspective. Encourage sharing, create opportunities for others to share their thoughts and experiences. Ask about their motivations, challenges, and aspirations to promote an in-depth exchange. Follow up on interests. When you learn something about the other person's interests or passions, follow up in future conversations. This shows that you care about them as individuals, further building trust. Case studies in questioning as influence. 1. Workplace scenario. Imagine a manager facing resistance from team members regarding a new project. Instead of asserting their authority, the manager utilizes the Socratic method by asking questions. What are your thoughts on the current project structure? What challenges do you foresee if we move forward this way? By engaging the team in thoughtful dialogue, the manager encourages them to voice their concerns, allowing for a collaborative discussion that leads to a revised approach. This not only influences the decision but also fosters a sense of ownership and buy-in from the team. 2. Personal relationships. Consider a parent navigating a difficult conversation with their teenager about curfews. Instead of imposing rules, the parent asks, "What do you think about the current curfew? How does it affect your plans with friends?" These questions invite the teenager to reflect on their needs and feelings, creating space for negotiation and understanding. This approach strengthens the parent-child relationship and encourages open communication. Overcoming challenges in questioning. 1. Managing defensiveness. Even the most well-intentioned questions can trigger defensiveness. Here are strategies for minimizing this reaction. Use empathy. Begin with an empathetic statement. For example, "I understand this is a sensitive topic, but I'd like to hear your thoughts." Stay non-judgmental. Frame questions in a way that avoids judgment or criticism. This allows for a more open exchange of ideas. 2. Navigating resistance. Resistance can manifest in various forms, such as silence or dismissal. To navigate this, consider acknowledging feelings. If someone seems resistant, acknowledge their feelings before proceeding. "I can see this topic may be uncomfortable for you." Offering choices, when appropriate, present options in your questions. "Would you prefer to discuss this now, or would later be better for you?" Conclusion: mastering the art of questioning. The ability to ask insightful questions is a transformative skill in the realm of silent influence. By employing techniques such as the Socratic method, framing questions thoughtfully, and fostering a culture of curiosity, you empower others to explore their thoughts and feelings. Questions invite reflection, promote understanding, and build trust, essential elements in fostering meaningful connections. As you practice these skills, you will find that the art of questioning not only enhances your persuasive abilities but also enriches your relationships across all contexts. Embrace the power of inquiry, and watch as it transforms your interactions, allowing you to master the delicate dance of influence without the need for confrontation or overt persuasion. Chapter 10. The Power of Storytelling Without Defending. Storytelling is one of humanity's oldest forms of communication, used to convey experiences, wisdom, and values across generations. While traditional storytelling can often be overtly persuasive, the most powerful stories are those that resonate on a deeper, emotional level without the need for direct defense or argumentation. In this chapter, we will explore how personal stories can subtly influence perceptions, shape understanding, and foster connection, all while allowing the narrative to speak for itself. Understanding the role of storytelling in influence. 1. The emotional resonance of stories. Stories have a unique ability to evoke emotions, making them a potent tool for influence. When we hear a story, we don't just process information, we feel it. This emotional engagement can lead to a deeper understanding and a more profound connection with the storyteller's message. Here are a few reasons why stories resonate. Empathy. Well-crafted stories enable listeners to put themselves in the narrator's shoes. This empathic connection fosters an emotional response that can alter perspectives and inspire action. Relatability. Personal anecdotes are often relatable, helping listeners see commonalities in their experiences and encouraging them to reflect on their own lives. Memorability. Stories are easier to remember than abstract concepts or facts. They create mental images and narratives that stick in our minds, making the underlying messages more enduring. Structuring stories to invite agreement. 1. Elements of a compelling story. To harness the persuasive power of storytelling, it's essential to understand its key components. A well-structured story typically includes the following elements. Characters. Relatable characters create an emotional anchor for the audience. They should be well-developed and evoke empathy. Conflict. A compelling story usually involves some form of conflict or challenge that the characters must overcome. This creates tension and engages the audience. Resolution. How the conflict is resolved offers insight into the lesson or message of the story. The resolution should be satisfying and reinforce the core message without needing explicit defense. Emotion. Infusing the narrative with genuine emotion can create a stronger bond with the audience. Whether it's joy, sadness, or triumph, the emotional arc enhances the story's impact. 2. Techniques for structuring your story. Here are some techniques to help you craft stories that resonate. The hero's journey. This classic narrative arc follows a hero who goes on an adventure, faces challenges, and returns transformed. This framework naturally invites listeners to identify with the hero's journey, making it easier for them to embrace the underlying message. The 3-act structure. Dividing your story into 3 parts, setup, confrontation, and resolution, creates a familiar rhythm that guides the audience through the narrative. Vivid imagery. Use descriptive language to paint a vivid picture for the audience. This helps them visualize the story and feel connected to it. Exercises in crafting subtle narratives. 1. Reflective writing. One of the best ways to hone your storytelling skills is through reflective writing. Here are some exercises to consider. Identify key moments. Reflect on your life and identify moments that have shaped your beliefs or values. Write about these moments in detail, focusing on emotions and lessons learned. Create character profiles. Develop profiles for the characters in your stories, including their motivations, fears, and desires. Understanding your characters deeply will help you convey their experiences more authentically. Experiment with different perspectives. Write the same story from multiple perspectives, allowing you to explore different angles and nuances in the narrative. This practice enhances empathy and can reveal new insights. 2. Story mapping. Creating a story map can help you visualize the structure of your narrative. Start by outlining the key elements. Main theme. What is the core message or lesson you want to convey? Beginning. Introduce the characters and setting. What is their situation? Middle. What conflict or challenge do they face? How do they react? End. What resolution occurs, and what lessons are learned? Letting stories speak for themselves. 1. Avoiding over-explanation. When sharing stories, it's essential to let the narrative unfold naturally without over-explaining or defending your message. Here's how to achieve this. Trust the audience. Give your audience credit for their ability to understand the story's implications. Avoid the temptation to summarize or restate your point explicitly. Embrace ambiguity. Not every story needs to have a clear moral or conclusion. Allowing for some ambiguity can lead to deeper reflection and interpretation by your audience. Use pauses effectively. Pauses can add weight to your storytelling. They give your audience time to absorb the information and reflect on its meaning. 2. Engaging the audience. Encouraging audience engagement enhances the storytelling experience. Here are some strategies to invite participation. Ask open-ended questions. Invite listeners to reflect on their own experiences in relation to your story. For example, has anyone here faced a similar challenge? Share personal insights. After telling your story, briefly share what it taught you or how it changed your perspective. This adds depth without feeling defensive. Encourage discussion. After sharing a story, foster an open dialogue. This allows others to share their thoughts and interpretations, further enriching the experience. Conclusion: the lasting impact of storytelling. In a world inundated with information and competing messages, storytelling stands out as a powerful tool for influence. When we craft our narratives thoughtfully, we invite others into our experiences without the need for direct persuasion or defense. Instead, we allow our stories to resonate, evoke emotions, and inspire reflection. The essence of storytelling lies in its ability to foster connections and cultivate understanding. By mastering the art of storytelling, you not only enhance your influence but also contribute to a culture of empathy and open dialogue. Embrace the power of your narrative and watch as it shapes perceptions, builds relationships, and quietly influences those around you. Chapter 11. Influence in Relationships, Boundaries and Respect. Influence in relationships is not just about persuasion, it is a delicate dance that balances empathy, boundaries, and respect. The most effective influencers understand that true power comes from the ability to foster connections while maintaining a sense of self and honoring the autonomy of others. In this chapter, we will explore how boundaries enhance silent influence, how to balance empathy with self-respect, and how recognizing and respecting the agency of others leads to deeper trust and communication in relationships. The role of healthy boundaries in silent influence. 1. Defining boundaries. Boundaries are essential for maintaining healthy relationships. They define where one person ends and another begins. Boundaries can be physical, emotional, or mental, and they serve to protect your well-being while allowing for authentic connection. Establishing clear boundaries can create an environment where influence is effective and mutual respect flourishes. Physical boundaries, these relate to personal space and physical touch. Knowing how much physical proximity is comfortable for both parties helps to establish a safe environment. Emotional boundaries, these involve your feelings and emotional experiences. Setting emotional boundaries helps to manage your emotional responses and protects your mental health. Mental boundaries, these are related to your thoughts, beliefs, and opinions. Respecting differing viewpoints while asserting your own fosters open dialogue and understanding. 2. The importance of boundaries in influence. Establishing boundaries is crucial for several reasons. Prevention of burnout. Without boundaries, one may overextend themselves in their efforts to influence others, leading to burnout. Healthy boundaries ensure you have the emotional and physical space to recharge. Enhancing respect. When you set boundaries, you communicate to others that you value your own needs. This, in turn, encourages them to respect your perspective and needs. Fostering trust. Clearly defined boundaries create a safe space for honest communication. When people know what to expect from you, they are more likely to trust your intentions and feel comfortable sharing their own thoughts and feelings. Balancing empathy with self-respect. 1. The power of empathy in influence. Empathy is a critical component of influence. It allows you to connect with others on a deeper level. However, excessive empathy can lead to a lack of self-respect if not balanced with personal boundaries. Here's how to balance the two effectively. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you extend to others. This practice reinforces your self-respect and helps you maintain your emotional well-being. Acknowledge your emotions, recognize and validate your feelings, even when you empathize with someone else. Acknowledging your emotions can help you remain grounded and assertive in your interactions. Set limits on emotional labor. While it is important to be there for others, it's equally important to know when to step back. Determine how much emotional energy you are willing to invest and communicate that clearly. 2. Strategies for balancing empathy and self-respect. To effectively balance empathy with self-respect, consider the following strategies. Use I statements. Express your thoughts and feelings using I statements rather than you statements. For example, say, I feel overwhelmed when. Instead of you make me feel overwhelmed. This approach fosters personal accountability and maintains the focus on your own needs. Engage in self-reflection. Regularly assess your emotional state and evaluate how interactions impact your well-being. This reflection can help you identify areas where you may need to set firmer boundaries. Communicate boundaries clearly. When you need to establish a boundary, do so calmly and assertively. For example, if a friend constantly seeks your advice but disregards it, you might say, "I value our friendship, but I need to step back from giving advice for a while." Recognizing and respecting the agency of others. 1. Understanding agency. Agency refers to the capacity of individuals to act independently and make their own choices. Respecting others' agency means recognizing their right to make decisions, even if those decisions differ from your own. This recognition fosters trust and creates an environment conducive to influence. Empowerment. By acknowledging others' agency, you empower them to take ownership of their choices and actions. This empowerment can lead to greater collaboration and cooperation. Reduced resistance. When individuals feel their agency is respected, they are less likely to resist influence. Instead, they may be more open to new ideas and perspectives. 2. Strategies for respecting agency in relationships. Encourage autonomy. When discussing options or solutions, invite others to share their thoughts and ideas. Ask questions like, "What do you think would work best for you?" This approach fosters a sense of ownership and respect for their decisions. Avoid micromanaging. Whether in personal relationships or professional settings, resist the urge to control every aspect of others' choices. Trusting individuals to manage their tasks encourages confidence and independence. Practice active listening. Make a conscious effort to listen without judgment or interruption. This practice shows respect for their thoughts and feelings, reinforcing their sense of agency. Enhancing trust in communication through quiet influence. 1. Building trust. Trust is the cornerstone of any influential relationship. It allows for open communication, vulnerability, and mutual respect. Here's how to cultivate trust. Consistency. Be reliable and consistent in your words and actions. When others can count on you, they are more likely to trust your intentions. Transparency. Share your thoughts and intentions openly, while respecting boundaries. Being transparent builds credibility and strengthens relationships. Accountability. Take responsibility for your actions, especially when mistakes occur. Owning up to your errors demonstrates integrity and fosters trust. 2. The power of nonverbal communication. Silent influence is often conveyed through nonverbal cues. Your body language, facial expressions, and tone can communicate empathy and respect more powerfully than words. Here are some ways to harness nonverbal communication. Maintain open body language. Avoid crossing your arms or turning away from others. Instead, adopt an open stance that invites conversation and connection. Use appropriate eye contact. Maintaining eye contact shows attentiveness and respect. However, be mindful of cultural differences regarding eye contact norms. Mirror emotions. Subtly mirroring the emotions of others can foster a sense of connection and empathy. For example, if someone expresses sadness, a gentle nod and understanding expression can signal that you are present and supportive. Overcoming challenges in influential relationships. 1. Navigating conflicts. Conflicts are an inevitable part of any relationship. However, how you navigate these conflicts can significantly impact your ability to influence. Consider these strategies. Stay calm. In tense situations, maintaining your composure is crucial. Practice deep breathing or take a moment to collect your thoughts before responding. Focus on solutions. Shift the conversation toward finding solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Ask open-ended questions like, "What do you think would be a good way forward?" Be willing to compromise. Sometimes, influence requires flexibility. Be open to finding common ground that respects both parties' needs. 2. Managing resistance. Resistance can arise when others feel threatened or misunderstood. To overcome resistance, employ these techniques. Validate concerns. Acknowledge the other person's feelings and concerns. For example, say, "I understand why you feel that way," before introducing your perspective. Find common interests. Identify shared goals or interests that can serve as a foundation for collaboration. This approach creates a sense of unity, making influence more likely. Be patient. Change takes time. Allow space for others to process information and come to their conclusions at their own pace. Conclusion. The essence of influence in relationships. Influence in relationships is a multifaceted process that requires a delicate balance of empathy, respect, and boundaries. By fostering an environment where individuals feel empowered and respected, you create a fertile ground for quiet influence to flourish. The relationships built on these principles are not only more resilient but also more fulfilling, leading to deeper connections and a richer tapestry of interactions. As you navigate your relationships, remember that silent influence is rooted in the understanding that true persuasion does not come from force but from compassion, respect, and genuine connection. By embodying these principles, you become not just an influencer but a respected partner in the journey of mutual growth and understanding. Chapter 12. Overcoming Common Persuasion Obstacles. In the art of silent influence, not every interaction goes smoothly. Challenges arise, and understanding how to navigate these obstacles is essential for effective persuasion. This chapter delves into common hurdles in the realm of influence and presents strategies for overcoming them. By addressing issues such as defensiveness, resistance, and the pressure of high-stakes conversations, you can cultivate a more resilient approach to silent persuasion. Handling defensiveness and resistance without resorting to argument. 1. Understanding defensiveness. Defensiveness is a natural human reaction when individuals feel threatened, judged, or criticized. It often manifests as denial, rationalization, or hostility, obstructing open communication and genuine understanding. Recognizing this behavior is the first step toward managing it effectively. Key triggers of defensiveness. Perceived threats: people may feel their beliefs or identity are under attack. Lack of control: when individuals feel they are being forced to accept another's viewpoint, they may resist. Emotional vulnerability: past experiences can create heightened sensitivity around certain topics. 2. Strategies for managing defensiveness. To counter defensiveness, consider implementing the following strategies. Create a safe space: ensure that the environment is conducive to open dialogue. This may involve physical comfort, such as a quiet room, or emotional comfort, such as using a calm tone. Acknowledge feelings: before diving into discussions, validate the other person's feelings. Use phrases like "I understand this is a sensitive topic for you," or "it's completely normal to feel that way." Validation helps lower defenses. Focus on interests, not positions. Instead of arguing over positions, what each party wants, shift the conversation to underlying interests, why they want it. This approach encourages collaboration rather than confrontation. Use reflective listening: paraphrase what the other person has said to show you are actively listening. For instance, "It sounds like you're worried that." This technique confirms their viewpoint without challenging it directly. Ask open-ended questions: encourage reflection rather than debate by asking questions that prompt deeper thinking. For example, "What do you think could be a solution that works for both of us?" This invites collaboration. 3. Building rapport. Establishing a positive relationship can mitigate defensiveness. Here are a few ways to build rapport. Common ground: identify shared goals or experiences that you can both relate to. This creates a sense of partnership rather than opposition. Humor and lightness: when appropriate, introducing a touch of humor can ease tension and humanize the conversation. Body language: maintain open and inviting body language. Avoid crossed arms or other defensive postures that could escalate tension. Navigating high-stakes conversations. High-stakes conversations can induce stress for all parties involved. Whether discussing sensitive issues at work, making critical personal decisions, or confronting ethical dilemmas, these conversations often carry significant emotional weight. Here's how to navigate them successfully. 1. Preparation is key. Preparation can significantly reduce anxiety and improve outcomes in high-stakes conversations. Clarify your goals. Before the conversation, take time to define what you hope to achieve. Knowing your objectives helps you stay focused and less likely to react impulsively. Anticipate reactions. Consider how the other person might respond to various points of discussion. This foresight allows you to prepare responses that are empathetic and constructive. Practice: rehearse your points, particularly if the conversation is particularly sensitive. This rehearsal can involve role-playing with a trusted friend or practicing in front of a mirror. 2. Establish ground rules. In high-stakes discussions, it may be helpful to set ground rules to promote a respectful dialogue. Time limits. Agree on time limits for each person's input to ensure a balanced conversation. Respectful language. Establish a commitment to using language that is respectful and avoids personal attacks. Agreement to pause. Allow for pauses in the conversation if emotions run high. Taking breaks can help prevent escalation. 3. Maintain emotional control. In high-stakes situations, emotions can easily escalate. Here's how to maintain your composure. Breath control. Practice deep breathing techniques to stay grounded. When you feel anxiety rising, take a moment to breathe deeply, allowing the oxygen to calm your body. Mindfulness techniques. Employ mindfulness techniques to stay present. Being aware of your thoughts and feelings helps you respond rather than react. Recognize triggers. Understand your emotional triggers and practice strategies to manage them. If certain topics cause strong reactions, prepare to address them calmly. 4. Focus on solutions. Encouraging a solution-focused dialogue can steer high-stakes conversations in a constructive direction. Collaborative brainstorming. After expressing your concerns, invite the other person to brainstorm solutions together. Phrasing such as, "Let's work together to find a resolution," promotes collaboration. Highlighting benefits. Emphasize the potential benefits of finding common ground. Discuss how solutions can serve both parties' interests. Common pitfalls of silent persuasion and how to avoid them. Despite the effectiveness of silent influence, several common pitfalls can undermine your efforts. Being aware of these pitfalls allows you to navigate them more adeptly. 1. Assuming understanding. One of the most common pitfalls is assuming that others understand your perspective without any explicit communication. This can lead to frustration and miscommunication. To avoid this pitfall, check for understanding. Periodically ask questions to ensure that both parties are on the same page. For example, "Does that make sense to you?" This invites clarification and ensures mutual understanding. Clarify intentions. Make your intentions known, especially in sensitive conversations. Explicitly stating your motivations can prevent misunderstandings. 2. Over-relying on silence. While silence can be powerful, over-relying on it can backfire. Silence can be interpreted in various ways, sometimes leading to confusion or discomfort. To navigate this, use silence purposefully. Implement silence strategically, such as pausing to allow someone to reflect on what you've said. However, be mindful not to create prolonged silence that can feel awkward. Balance with engagement. Ensure that your communication is a two-way street. Engage with questions and responses to create a balanced dialogue. 3. Neglecting self-care. In the pursuit of influencing others, it's easy to neglect your own emotional well-being. Stress and burnout can significantly impair your ability to persuade effectively. To maintain your health, set boundaries. Protect your time and emotional energy. Learn to say no when necessary to maintain your well-being. Practice self-reflection. Regularly reflect on your emotional state and the impact of your interactions. This can help you recognize when you need to take a step back. Remaining patient and flexible in the face of differing opinions. 1. Embracing differences. In any interaction, differing opinions are inevitable. Embracing these differences is key to fostering productive discussions. Cultivate curiosity. Approach differing opinions with curiosity rather than judgment. Ask questions to explore the other person's perspective. Avoid defensiveness. If someone challenges your viewpoint, strive to remain open. Instead of reacting defensively, view the conversation as an opportunity for growth. 2. Adapting your approach. Flexibility is essential in silent influence. Adapt your approach based on the context and the individuals involved. Tailor communication styles. Adjust your communication style to resonate with your audience. Consider their preferences and how they best receive information. Be willing to shift perspectives. If new information arises, be open to altering your stance. Acknowledging when you're wrong fosters trust and respect. Conclusion: building resilience in silent influence. Overcoming obstacles in silent persuasion requires patience, empathy, and adaptability. By understanding the nature of defensiveness, preparing for high-stakes conversations, and being aware of common pitfalls, you can navigate challenges more effectively. Each interaction is an opportunity for growth, both for you and those you seek to influence. As you practice these techniques, remember that influence is a dynamic process that thrives on respect, understanding, and genuine connection. By embodying these principles, you can enhance your ability to persuade silently, paving the way for deeper, more meaningful relationships. Embrace the challenges that come with influence, for they are stepping stones toward becoming a master of silent persuasion. Chapter 13. Practice makes persuasive, developing your skills. Silent influence is not merely an innate talent, it is a skill that can be cultivated through consistent practice and reflection. This chapter provides you with various exercises, techniques, and strategies to enhance your ability to persuade without words. By actively engaging in daily practices, you can sharpen your influence skills, build confidence, and develop greater self-awareness. Daily exercises to sharpen silent influence skills. To become adept at silent influence, incorporating specific exercises into your daily routine can be incredibly beneficial. Here are some practices to consider. 1. Mindful observation. Spend a few minutes each day observing interactions around you, whether in a coffee shop, during a meeting, or in social settings. Focus on how people communicate without words, paying attention to body language, note gestures, posture, and movements. How do these nonverbal cues affect the dynamics of the interaction? Facial expressions. Observe how emotions are expressed and how they influence the atmosphere. What expressions seem to resonate positively or negatively? Group dynamics. Identify who is leading the conversation nonverbally. How do they engage others? What can you learn from their approach? Reflection prompt. After your observation, jot down your insights in a journal. Consider what you can adopt in your style and how others' body language impacts your perception. 2. Active listening exercises. Active listening is a cornerstone of silent influence. To enhance this skill, daily check-ins. Each day, have a meaningful conversation with a friend, family member, or colleague where your sole focus is on listening. Practice not interrupting and instead, responding with paraphrasing to show understanding. Mirroring technique. During conversations, subtly mirror the other person's body language and tone. This can help build rapport and make the other person feel more comfortable, enhancing the connection between you. Listening journals. After each interaction, write down your observations regarding how well you listened. Were there moments when you found your mind wandering? What emotions did you perceive from the other person? Reflection prompt. Evaluate how actively listening impacted the interaction. Did the other person open up more than they typically would? How did this influence your ability to persuade? 3. Empathy development. Empathy is vital in silent persuasion. To develop this skill, engage in perspective taking. Once a week, choose a topic of disagreement with someone close to you. Write a brief essay from their perspective, including their potential feelings, beliefs, and reasons behind their stance. This practice sharpens your ability to understand and respect differing viewpoints. Empathetic conversations. When discussing sensitive issues, try to express empathy verbally. Instead of reacting defensively, respond with phrases like, "I can see how you feel that way." This will not only help you practice empathy but also model the behavior for others. Reflection prompt. After each empathetic conversation, reflect on how it felt to connect with the other person's emotions. How did this openness influence their receptiveness to your perspective? Practicing patience, active listening, and calm responses. Mastering silent influence requires patience, and developing this quality is crucial for effective persuasion. 1. Breath control techniques. In moments of tension or emotional intensity, practice breath control to maintain calmness. Deep breathing. Before entering a challenging conversation, take a few minutes to practice deep breathing. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale through your mouth for a count of 6. This practice calms your nervous system and prepares you to engage thoughtfully. Pausing. During conversations, allow yourself to pause before responding. A brief moment of silence not only gives you time to collect your thoughts but also communicates thoughtfulness and consideration. 2. Mindful responses. Throughout your day, practice responding mindfully in various situations. Reactivity exercises. When faced with a provocation or an emotional topic, consciously practice responding with a calm demeanor. Try using phrases like, "That's an interesting point, I'd like to think about it." This technique fosters an atmosphere of dialogue instead of argument. Feedback loops. After responding, ask for feedback from trusted friends or colleagues about how your response was received. This not only builds self-awareness but also demonstrates a willingness to grow. Reflection prompt. Journal about how maintaining calm responses influenced the overall interaction. Did you notice a shift in the other person's demeanor? Building self-awareness to recognize progress and areas for improvement. Self-awareness is key to honing your influence skills. Understanding your strengths and areas for growth allows for focused development. 1. Regular self-reflection. Set aside dedicated time each week for self-reflection. During this time, focus on interaction review. Think about significant conversations from the past week. What went well, and what didn't? How did your approach impact the outcome? Identify patterns. Keep a log of recurring themes or challenges you face in your interactions. Are there particular triggers that lead you to react rather than respond? 2. Seek constructive feedback. Actively seek feedback from others about your communication style. Create a small circle of trusted friends or colleagues who can provide insights into how effectively you influence without words. 360-degree feedback. Ask others to share their perceptions of your body language, tone, and overall approach to persuasion. Encourage them to highlight both strengths and areas for improvement. Role reversal exercises. Invite a friend to role-play different scenarios where they can provide feedback on your silent influence techniques. This practice can reveal new perspectives on your communication style. Reflection prompts and journaling exercises for tracking growth. Developing silent influence skills is an ongoing journey. Implementing regular reflection and journaling can support your growth. 1. Daily journaling. Each day, take a few moments to reflect on your interactions. What went well today? Consider moments where you felt you influenced someone positively. What challenges did I face? Identify obstacles you encountered and how you handled them. How did I feel? Reflect on your emotional state during key interactions and how it impacted your influence. 2. Weekly review sessions. At the end of each week, review your daily entries and look for patterns. Identify progress, acknowledge areas where you've improved, and celebrate small victories. Set goals. Based on your reflections, set specific, measurable goals for the upcoming week. For instance, if you notice difficulty in maintaining patience, you might aim to practice deep breathing before all challenging conversations. Conclusion: the continuous journey of silent influence. Mastering the art of silent influence is a continuous journey of growth, reflection, and practice. By incorporating daily exercises, mindfulness techniques, and self-awareness practices, you can sharpen your ability to persuade without words. As you engage with these strategies, remember that silent influence thrives on authenticity, empathy, and understanding. With consistent effort, patience, and reflection, you will not only enhance your influence skills but also cultivate deeper connections with those around you. Embrace this process as an opportunity to become a more impactful and persuasive communicator, inspiring others through your quiet strength. Chapter 14. Applying quiet persuasion in different contexts. The principles of silent influence can be applied across various contexts, from professional settings to personal relationships and community interactions. Understanding how to tailor your approach based on the environment and the dynamics at play is crucial for maximizing your persuasive potential. In this chapter, we will explore practical strategies for applying quiet persuasion effectively in 4 primary areas: the workplace, family dynamics, friendships and community settings, and subtle leadership. Influence at work, inspiring respect and collaboration without arguing. The workplace is often rife with conflict, differing opinions, and high-pressure situations. However, by employing silent influence, you can foster an environment of collaboration and respect. Here are some strategies to consider. 1. Modeling calmness under pressure. In high-stakes environments, maintaining a calm demeanor can significantly impact the atmosphere. Stay composed. When faced with a crisis or difficult decision, your calmness can serve as a stabilizing force for your colleagues. This does not mean suppressing emotions, rather, it involves acknowledging feelings while choosing to respond thoughtfully. Use nonverbal cues. Demonstrate calmness through body language. Maintain an open posture, make steady eye contact, and use a measured tone when speaking. These cues can help convey confidence and reassurance to others. 2. Creating collaborative spaces. Fostering collaboration often requires inviting input from others. Facilitate discussions. Instead of dominating meetings, practice the art of asking open-ended questions that invite diverse perspectives. For instance, ask, "What do you think about this approach?" This not only encourages participation but also empowers others to contribute their insights. Encourage inclusivity. Make a conscious effort to include quieter team members in discussions. Acknowledge their contributions, and encourage them to share their thoughts. This practice builds trust and creates a sense of belonging. 3. Leading by example. Your actions often speak louder than your words. Demonstrate desired behaviors. If you want to foster a culture of teamwork, embody those values in your interactions. Celebrate team achievements, give credit where it's due, and show appreciation for colleagues' efforts. Consistent follow-through. When you commit to a course of action, follow through. This builds credibility and trust, making it easier for others to align with your vision without the need for coercive persuasion. Silent influence in family dynamics. Leading by example. Family interactions can often be emotionally charged, making quiet influence particularly valuable. Applying these principles can strengthen familial bonds and promote understanding. 1. Encouraging open dialogue. Fostering an environment where family members feel comfortable expressing their feelings is crucial. Practice active listening. When family members share their thoughts, listen intently without interrupting. Use reflective responses, such as, "I hear you saying that you feel." This conveys that you value their perspectives and are invested in their emotional experiences. Create safe spaces for discussion. Designate regular family meetings or informal gatherings where everyone can share their feelings and concerns. Encourage honesty while maintaining respect for differing opinions. 2. Modeling vulnerability. Demonstrating vulnerability can create a culture of openness. Share your feelings. Be willing to express your own struggles and emotions. For example, if you are feeling overwhelmed, share that with your family, explaining how they can support you. Acknowledge mistakes. When you make a mistake, admit it openly. This not only demonstrates humility but also shows that it's okay for family members to be imperfect. It fosters a sense of safety in acknowledging one's flaws. 3. Promoting healthy boundaries. Respecting boundaries is vital for healthy family dynamics. Recognize personal space. Understand when family members need time alone or prefer not to discuss certain topics. This respect builds trust and creates an atmosphere where everyone feels valued. Communicate boundaries clearly. If certain behaviors upset you, communicate those boundaries calmly and respectfully. For instance, if a family member often interrupts, express that you value being heard and ask for their patience. Navigating friendships and community settings with respect and empathy. Influence extends beyond family and work. It is equally important in friendships and community settings. Building strong connections in these contexts relies on mutual respect and empathy. 1. Practicing empathic engagement. Understanding others' perspectives is key in friendships and community relationships. Engage in empathetic listening. When friends share their concerns or experiences, listen without judgment. Show that you are engaged by using affirming nods and maintaining eye contact. Ask open-ended questions. Encourage deeper conversations by asking questions that invite reflection. For example, what has been the most challenging aspect of this situation for you? This fosters intimacy and connection. 2. Supporting others non-verbally. Your actions can offer support without the need for words. Offer help. In times of need, actions speak volumes. Whether it's helping a friend move or providing a listening ear during tough times, your willingness to act shows that you care. Be present. Sometimes, simply being there for someone is the most powerful form of support. Share quiet moments, watch a movie together, or enjoy a walk in nature. These shared experiences strengthen bonds without the need for verbal persuasion. 3. Building community through shared values. In community settings, emphasize shared values to foster connections. Lead by example, participate in community service or local events that align with your values. Your presence and actions can inspire others to join in and contribute to the community's well-being. Showcase diversity, encourage inclusivity by recognizing and celebrating diverse perspectives within your community. This could be through community events, potlucks, or open forums that invite dialogue. Subtle leadership, being a silent yet impactful leader. Leadership does not always have to be loud or authoritative. Often, the most effective leaders are those who lead quietly and purposefully. Here are some strategies for practicing silent leadership. 1. Influencing through integrity. Integrity is the foundation of effective leadership. Be consistent, ensure your actions align with your values. If you advocate for transparency, demonstrate it in your decision-making and communication. Take responsibility, own your decisions, both good and bad. This builds trust among your team and encourages them to take ownership of their actions. 2. Encouraging empowerment. Empowerment fosters a sense of ownership and accountability among team members. Delegate meaningfully, give team members the autonomy to make decisions related to their work. This not only demonstrates trust but also encourages personal growth and innovation. Celebrate individual contributions, recognize and celebrate the efforts of others, no matter how small. This recognition can significantly boost morale and motivation within the group. 3. Practicing humility. A humble leader often inspires respect and admiration. Be approachable, create an atmosphere where team members feel comfortable approaching you with concerns or ideas. This openness fosters collaboration and strengthens relationships. Seek feedback, actively ask for feedback on your leadership style. This demonstrates your willingness to learn and adapt, making others feel valued in the process. Conclusion: embracing the power of silent influence. The principles of silent influence can transform your interactions across various contexts, from professional environments to personal relationships and community engagements. By practicing empathy, active listening, and integrity, you can create lasting connections and inspire others without the need for overt persuasion. As you apply these strategies, remember that influence is not about coercion but about fostering trust, respect, and collaboration. Embrace the quiet power of influence, and you will discover the profound impact you can have on those around you. Whether in the workplace, at home, or within your community, the ability to inspire and connect without words is a valuable skill that can lead to meaningful change. Chapter 15. Living with integrity, becoming the quiet influence. Integrity is the bedrock of true influence. It is the quality that imbues our words and actions with authenticity, creating an environment where others feel safe to trust and follow us. In this chapter, we will explore how integrity serves as the core of persuasive power, the ways it can be cultivated in our lives, and the long-term benefits that come from embodying this quiet strength. We will also discuss how embracing the power of silence can enhance our influence in a world often dominated by noise and distraction. Understanding integrity as the foundation of influence. Integrity is often defined as the adherence to moral and ethical principles. However, it encompasses much more than just honesty. It involves aligning your actions with your values and beliefs, fostering a sense of coherence between what you say and what you do. This alignment generates a magnetic pull, encouraging others to follow your lead without the need for forceful persuasion. 1. The role of authenticity in integrity. Authenticity is at the heart of integrity. When you are authentic, you present your true self to the world, free from pretense or deception. This honesty resonates with others, making them more likely to trust you and be influenced by your example. Being genuine, strive to express your true thoughts and feelings openly, even when it's uncomfortable. Authenticity involves vulnerability, which can create deeper connections with others. Consistency is key. Ensure that your actions reflect your core values. If you advocate for compassion, ensure your behaviors consistently align with that principle. People are more likely to be persuaded by someone whose actions mirror their words. 2. The impact of integrity on relationships. Integrity fosters trust, which is essential in any relationship, personal or professional. Trust creates an environment where individuals feel valued and respected, enhancing the potential for influence. Building trust through reliability: be someone others can rely on. Follow through on your commitments, whether they are large or small. This reliability signals that you are trustworthy, making others more receptive to your influence. Handling conflicts with integrity: in times of disagreement, approach conflicts with honesty and respect. This means acknowledging differing viewpoints while remaining true to your principles. When others see you handling conflicts with grace, they are more likely to admire and respect you, even if they don't agree. Creating a life that naturally inspires and influences others. When you live with integrity, you naturally inspire those around you. This influence is often quiet yet profound, allowing you to lead without overtly seeking power or control. 1. Embodying your values. Living with integrity means actively embodying the values you hold dear. This might include compassion, respect, honesty, or responsibility. When you consistently express these values in your daily life, others are likely to notice and be inspired to adopt similar behaviors. Modeling behavior, whether in the workplace, with friends, or in your community, demonstrate the values you espouse. For example, if you value teamwork, actively seek to collaborate and uplift others in group settings. Your actions will encourage others to follow suit. Sharing your journey: while you don't need to boast about your values, sharing personal stories about how you navigate challenges with integrity can inspire others to reflect on their own values. This storytelling can encourage them to adopt similar mindsets and behaviors. 2. Encouraging others through empowerment. When you influence others through integrity, you empower them to act in alignment with their values. This empowerment is a form of quiet leadership that can have a lasting impact. Encourage individuality: allow others to express their own values and beliefs without judgment. Create an environment where everyone feels safe to share their thoughts. This inclusivity fosters collaboration and mutual respect. Provide support: offer support and encouragement to those who may be struggling to uphold their values. Sometimes, a gentle reminder or a supportive comment can inspire someone to stay true to themselves. The long-term benefits of a quiet approach to influence and persuasion. Choosing to live with integrity and employing a quiet approach to influence brings a range of long-term benefits that extend beyond personal gain. 1. Cultivating resilience. A life lived with integrity is inherently resilient. When you act in alignment with your values, you build inner strength that helps you navigate challenges with grace. Facing adversity: integrity provides a foundation that helps you withstand challenges. When you know you are acting authentically, you can approach difficulties with confidence, knowing that you are staying true to yourself. Encouraging resilience in others: your integrity can inspire others to develop their own resilience. When they see you handling adversity gracefully, they may be encouraged to adopt similar approaches in their lives. 2. Building a legacy of influence. Your commitment to living with integrity can leave a lasting legacy, influencing future generations. Inspiring future leaders: by demonstrating integrity in your actions, you pave the way for future leaders who value authenticity and compassion. Your example can influence how they navigate their own paths. Creating positive change: when you inspire others through quiet influence, you contribute to a culture that prioritizes integrity and respect. This cultural shift can have far-reaching implications, fostering environments where constructive dialogue and collaboration thrive. Embracing the power of silence. In a world that often values noise and bravado, the power of silence can be an invaluable asset. Embracing silence allows you to reflect, listen deeply, and respond thoughtfully. It is in this silence that profound influence often emerges. 1. The strength of reflective silence. Reflective silence can be a powerful tool in decision-making and communication. Pause before responding. When engaged in conversations, take a moment of silence to consider your response. This not only demonstrates thoughtfulness but also allows you to gauge the emotions and reactions of others, enhancing your ability to connect. Create space for others. Allow moments of silence during discussions to encourage others to share their thoughts. This space can foster deeper reflections and insights, leading to more meaningful conversations. 2. Listening as a form of silence. Listening is an active form of silent influence. By genuinely listening, you communicate respect and validation, creating a strong foundation for persuasion. Practice deep listening, engage fully in conversations by setting aside distractions and focusing on the speaker. This attentiveness not only helps you understand their perspective but also demonstrates that you value their voice. Respond with empathy. When you do respond, let your words reflect what you've heard. This demonstrates that you are not only listening but are also committed to understanding their point of view. Conclusion: becoming the quiet influence. Living with integrity is a lifelong journey that requires self-awareness, commitment, and reflection. As you cultivate this quality in your life, remember that the most profound influence often comes not from what you say, but from who you are and how you choose to live. Embrace the quiet power of influence and integrity, recognizing that the impact you have on others can be significant, even if it feels subtle. By fostering trust, modeling values, and listening deeply, you can inspire others to lead lives of integrity and authenticity as well. In a noisy world, your commitment to silent influence will not only set you apart but also create ripples of positive change that can last for generations.